benefits from drinking Nourishing Herbal Infusions. Do you drink Nourishing Herbal Infusions, Monica G?
Yes.
Everybody benefits from drinking Nourishing Herbal Infusions. Whether you're a premature infant, a little girl, an old crone, a fertile woman, a pregnant woman, a lactating woman, whether you're an old man, a man who wants to sire a child, whether you're somebody who has a cancer diagnosis or any other diagnosis, whether you're getting ready for surgery, coming out of surgery, doing chemotherapy, radiation, had an organ transplant, whatever. Nourishing Herbal Infusions are great for everybody. They're not teas. Tea, small amount of fresh or dried herb brewed for a short time. An infusion is a large amount of herb brewed for a long time. Let's make another infusion. I've weighed out an ounce of linden. One of the things that I've been telling my students for a very long time is that the name of disease, especially chronic disease, is inflammation. And linden is one of the world's best anti-inflammatory herbs. When we drink linden infusion, then we are getting the benefits of all the anti-inflammatory compounds that are in the linden. I've weighed out an ounce of linden, and that's in the jar. And Monica Jean, I'm just going to ask you to step to the side so that I don't get any of this boiling water on you, because it's a big pan and it's really hot. And here's my pot holders, and they're going to come right here. And actually, I don't need this because I filled up that teapot now. Now we got some teapot water. That's a little easier to use, but thank you for being out of the way of the hot water. We're making a linden infusion. Linden is the world's leading preventative of colds and flus, and it's also the world's leading cure for colds and flus. So if you're ever concerned about colds and flus, some linden is a good ally to have on your side. You want to put that nice lid on there, Monica Jean? That's full, right? Okay, we're just going to take the lid and put it right on there and screw it down good and tight. Linden, anti-inflammatory. What's inflammation? Well, joint pain is inflammation, and memory problems are inflammation. Of course, blood vessel disease is inflammation. There's a lot of things that are inflammation. But you know what? Linden just tastes good. It's a wonderful, wonderful thing to drink. Try some linden infusion today, whether you pick your own linden or buy it already picked and dried from the store. You're going to really enjoy linden infusion, and you will enjoy the benefits of linden infusion too. Linden infusion is one of those herbs that contain phytosterols. We're going to be talking about the specific constituents in Nourishing Herbal Infusions, so we're going to be coming back to phytosterols. Let's see, we made a nettle infusion, and we can see that that nettle infusion,
black.
Yeah, it's really dark, and it needs just a little more water. Remember how we talked about how those lids seal down there? And now that I have some teapot water, which is a little easier to use, but I'm going to ask you to step back here because you know it can splash. We're just going to make sure that our jar is filled right up to the top.
Oh, I got it.
Thank you. Nettle's the herb of energy. Nettle has so much energy. What happens when you touch it outside? Ow, it stings you. That's how much energy nettle has. And when you drink nettle, it gives you that much energy too. You have nettle from morning till night. Strong, supported energy, not jazzed up energy, not caffeinated energy, not stimulated energy, but super powerful, driving, great energy. As a matter of fact, stinging nettle gets right to where your energy comes from. Bonk. And that's the adrenals. Stinging nettle nourishes those adrenal glands. It also makes your hair really lovely and your skin very nice and your eyes sparkle. What else do we have here? Ooh, we have oat straw. Do you like oat straw infusion? I really like oat straw infusion. We're putting 1 ounce in there. That's a really good question. Thanks for asking that question. Does it say 1.0 there? 1.0 right on the scale. Yeah. It's important.
1.0.
Yeah, it's important to have a scale when we're making a Nourishing Herbal Infusion because it's actually a
Wait,
weight.
want me to get like a funnel?
Sure.
There's-
Want to get a funnel to help us put that in there?
Yeah.
We're certainly going to need that when it comes to the red clover. Right now for the oat straw, I think we've got it, but hold on to that. And actually, if you would like to weigh out the red clover, Monica Jean, here behind me, come around here and get enough red clover in there until it says 1, okay?
Wait,
All right, now you know what I'm going to do. I have 1 ounce of dried oat straw in my jar. I'm going to put boiling water in this quart jar, and I'm going to fill it right up to the very, very top with boiling water, making sure to get all of the herb good and wet and in there. You're saying oat straw? What is oat straw? Oat straw is the grass of the plant that gives us oatmeal. So oats grow, they're a grass like wheat and rice and rye, and this is the stalk or the grass oat straw. Now, my favorite oat straw story comes from a woman who was attending my menopause workshop, and she told me that when she got to menopause that her libido went on vacation. She said when she was done with menopause, her libido had not come back, and down there it was so dry. She said it was like a desert. She said, think sand dunes and camels. Then she said she got a copy of my book, New Menopausal Years, The Wise Woman Way, and she started reading about oat straw infusion. So she took 1 ounce of oat straw, put it in a quart jar, filled that jar to the top with boiling water, put a tight lid on it, let it steep for 4 hours or overnight, and she started drinking it. She said, you know, my libido came home with company, and down there is now an oasis with date palms and dancing girls. I told you that I'd be telling you about what happens when we sow our wild oats. Oats is also a tremendous improver of nervous system functioning. If you feel nervous or anxious or jittery, oat straw is going to calm you down and help you really stay here. I have friends who say they really like to drink some oat straw infusion before they settle down to meditate, that it helps them be clear and it helps them with their focus. What a good job you're doing here, Monica Jean.
I rated this so they could see what it is.
Oh, wonderful. You weighed out how much red clover?
1 ounce.
1 ounce of red clover. These are red clover blossoms. And those of you who work with plants are very familiar with the red clover. Even if you just walked along the roadside, you've seen red clover. People say, wait a second, it's not really red, it's more pink. It's true. It's kind of a pinky purple color. It's not the crimson clover, which is a true red. And again, this is a very easy herb to harvest for yourself, and I have YouTubes showing you exactly how to harvest the red clover. So 1 ounce of red clover. What are we going to do now? Pour boiling water into our quart jar, and after we pour the boiling water in there, what are we going to do? Put a lid on it and let it steep just at room temperature, just right out here in the kitchen. Oop, not too much, Susan. For 4 hours or overnight. Red clover is one of those herbs which is very well known and which there's a lot of misinformation about out on the internet. And I've had actually quite a few people tell me that they read on the internet that red clover wasn't safe, especially if you have like breast cancer diagnosis or prostate cancer diagnosis, because it has phytoestrogens in it, and phytoestrogens can feed those cancers. And it's true, red clover does have phytoestrogens in it, but so do carrots and potatoes and sweet potatoes and every grain and every nut and every bean. And so if you really wanted to avoid phytoestrogens, it's not just avoiding red clover. You basically have to go on a diet that was just eggs and milk and meat and fish to avoid phytoestrogens, and then maybe you wouldn't even totally avoid them. In fact, what we find is that red clover is an anti-cancer herb, and that people who have a breast cancer diagnosis or a prostate cancer diagnosis who drink red clover improve better, whatever kind of techniques they decide to use, whether it's regular things or alternative things. The red clover seems to help. As a matter of fact, I just got a letter last year from an oncologist, a cancer specialist in Switzerland, who was treating one of my correspondence course students. and she had a very severe, very malignant form of cancer, in which what was necessary was a bone marrow transplant. If you're not familiar with that, they take out some of your bone marrow, then they give you so much chemotherapy or so much radiation that it destroys your own bone marrow, and they literally kill you, and then they have to put your bone marrow back. And this oncologist wrote me to thank me for asking her to drink red clover infusion. He says, I have no doubt that in her weakened state she would not have survived the bone marrow transplant except for the extra aid that the red clover gave her. I find that Swiss and European physicians are often far more eager to accept the effects of the plants than their American counterparts. We've made 4 infusions now.
What other infusions are we going to make?
I rotate through 5 infusions in my daily routine. And the 5th of the infusions that I use, we have linden and nettle and oat straw and red clover. And here's comfrey leaf. 1 ounce of comfrey leaf. And we put just a little bit of sage in there for a little flavor, because comfrey is not a very flavorful herb, and it has both an astringency and a slipperiness that makes some people kind of go, oh my goodness, what is this? So that little bit of aromatic herb in there, tiny bit of mint or lemon balm, whatever you like, is a real ally in drinking the comfrey.
It smells good too.
Yeah, it does. Comfrey, I often tease, only affects the skin, the bones, the ligaments, the tendons, the mucous surfaces of the reproductive system, the mucous surfaces of the respiratory system, and the mucous surfaces of the digestive system, bringing strength, ease, flexibility, and healing. Comfrey is known as knit bone. It is certainly a controversial herb in many circles because, indeed, the wild comfrey contains compounds that can be fairly dangerous to our liver. But everything that is sold in America today is cultivated comfrey, and that comfrey, in fact, has been cultivated and bred not to have those dangerous compounds. I truly love comfrey because it keeps me strong and flexible. It allows me to work hard and to feel that I can recover from that work. It allows me to go out and to really do things that others might think are perhaps too difficult or too hard for an old woman, an old crone of my 70 years. But comfrey helps me to spring back. Comfrey helps me to be flexible and strong the way I want to be. I drink a quart of comfrey every 5 days. That's 6 times a month. I drink a quart of red clover 6 times a month. I drink a quart of oat straw 6 times a month. I drink a quart of nettle 6 times a month. And I drink a quart of linden 6 times a month. Here are my 5 nourishing herbal infusions. I told you that I would tell you more about what's in them. These herbs have been chosen because they are very, very rich in protein. I believe that human beings thrive when they have lots of protein. The difficulty is that most of the time protein comes associated with a whole lot of fat. These nourishing herbal infusions have little or no calories. A quart of nourishing herbal infusion contains something between 10 and 15 calories. If you add some honey, that would add maybe another 30 calories per cup. So you're not getting many calories at all, but you're getting a huge amount of protein. Our comfrey infusion can be up to 20% protein. Our oat straw infusion, 15 to 20% protein. Our red clover infusion is also 15 to 20% protein. And the nettle is usually about 12 to 15% protein. Only the linden doesn't have very much protein in it. Protein, especially as we age, helps to keep us strong and helps to prevent falls. These nourishing herbal infusions are also extremely rich in minerals. Every single one of them, the comfrey, the oat straw, the red clover, the nettle, and the linden are loaded with minerals. And these minerals are extremely different than the minerals that you find in pills. These are minerals that are in a great many different ionic forms, thereby allowing your body to uptake and utilize these minerals. Well, I've actually seen women who are diagnosed with severe osteoporosis completely rebuild their bone mass and have doctors tell them their bone mass is now at 70 better than it was at 40 by drinking Nourishing Herbal Infusions. This is a really good idea. The Nourishing Herbal Infusions are also loaded with vitamins. Many people think that vitamins somehow are killed by heat, and it's certainly true of vitamin E and vitamin C. However, the carotenes, which produce vitamin A for us, the B vitamins, these are well represented in the Nourishing Herbal Infusions, plus a whole load of antioxidant substances and phytochemicals which are found in these plants, and we are finding more and more that using whole plants leads to a tremendous host of life improving, health improving, and disease putting down. These are vegetables. This is vegetable matter. This is plant matter. Believe it or not, you can get up in the morning and drink a cup of infusion and have that be your breakfast. It's a complete breakfast that has the protein, the vitamins, and the minerals. Now, some of you are saying what I do in the morning when I get up is I make a green drink. I'd rather that you didn't. The Center for Disease Control says that half of all cases of food poisoning come from raw vegetables, and a great many of those come from greens. When you take raw greens and you put them in the blender, you're not actually breaking the cell wall, and so you're not getting the minerals or the other phytonutrients that are in that. You might get a few of the less, the easily gotten vitamins from that, but you're not going to get very much at all from that, but you are going to maximize the amount of bacteria. Remember when there was a E. coli contamination of spinach in the United States, the first person to die was a little boy whose mom made him a green drink with that spinach. No one who ate the spinach cooked was harmed at all. So I beg you not to use green drinks in the morning. In fact, I fear that they could be lethal in certain circumstances, whereas your Nourishing Herbal Infusions, because they're made with dried herb and they're made with boiling water, are completely safe, as we have said before. Well, I started out by telling you that I had three really good ideas in my life: the scientific tradition, the heroic tradition, and the wise woman tradition. And the wise woman tradition nourishes the wholeness of the unique individual, nourishing our optimum health so that we can maintain and regain health no matter what our challenge. I mentioned that one of my good ideas is the 7 medicines: serenity medicine, story medicine, mind medicine, lifestyle medicine, alternative medicine, pharmaceutical medicine, and high-tech medicine. Nourishing Herbal Infusions, to my mind, are one of the most important things that you can do in lifestyle medicine. In fact, what my students wind up doing is throwing away all of their pills, throwing away all of their supplements, and using Nourishing Herbal Infusions instead. If you harvest your own herbs, they're virtually free. But even if you buy the dried herbs, if you buy them in bulk, and since you'll be using a quantity, you'll want to buy them in bulk, it will cost you less than $1 a day to make a quart of Nourishing Herbal Infusion. When you consider that your average American is spending $125 a month on supplements, $30 a month for much more than what those supplements can give you, is a really good way to go. I know we're all interested in being healthier, and I know that those of you looking at this are interested in ways to be closer to the land and to maximize the green blessings that surround us all. Remember, herbal medicine is people's medicine. It's the medicine of the people, for the people, and by the people. Nourishing Herbal Infusions, it's one of my very best ideas. This is Susan Weed, wishing you green blessings wherever you are.